Hi players, bonjour from Paris. My name is Asaf and welcome to my channel Easy Board Games. Today we're going to have some fun listing the top 10 board games in my collection that I feel are underrated out there or not getting enough coverage. Let's start with the first game, that is March of the Ants, that is currently rated as a 7.2 on BGG. Now, March of the Ants is a true 4X board game that can be played in about an hour 15 minutes, which is quite rare for this genre of games. Here, each player is going to play a colony of ants that is trying to discover more tiles, discover more territory in the meadow, trying to control the meadow, trying to gain more resources, upgrade their ants, and completing missions, just having the most victory points on the way to be the best colony of ants in the meadow. Now, the reason that I think that March of the Ants is ranked relatively low, it's just because the way it looks. Because March of the Ants is more of an abstract kind of game, and in this area of board games, when people want the next most shiny thing that is out there, I kind of understand it, even though I don't really agree with it. March of the Ants in that case is kind of humble. This is an abstract game where the units themselves are actually just small generic cubes that are going to change their role according to where they are positioned on the board or on the player mat. The resources are just, again, small pieces of wood in different colors, and there's not something too shiny over here. This game is really basic. Personally, I think this is the appeal of it because in such a small box, and there are two expansions that I think if I'll try really hard, I can fit also in the core box. I think this is an advantage, okay? I don't think that every game should have 10 expansions and going to take half of your shelf space. March of the Ants in that case is really just a small treat, even though it's not maybe the most eye-pleaser out there. It is also an out-of-print game, so it's a little bit more difficult to get a copy, but if I understood correctly, this from what I've seen on BGG, in 2025 we are going to have a reprint to this game that is going to have updated art, upgraded components, and so on. So check it out because I think this game is really one of the good ones out there. Moving on to the next game, if we talked about small boxes, let's talk about boxes that are a little bit bigger. And that is a Tsukuyomi Full Moon Down that is currently ranked as a 7.5 on BGG. Now, if you like asymmetrical factions with area control, this game should be in your collection, and I don't understand so much. I mean, I can estimate why this game is ranked relatively low, maybe because their last campaign that they have on Kickstarter, not the current one, depends on when we're watching this video. The last campaign maybe wasn't the best one. People complained about the rulebooks and errata and printed things and whatever, but I'm talking to you as someone that is just playing this game time after time. This game that can hold up to 6 players area control, that is going relatively quick, highly asymmetrical factions. That is really the highlight of this game, is amazing asymmetrical factions, but the goal of all the factions is going to be the same, and that is just to control as many territories as possible at the end of the game. And also between rounds, there's going to be a small scoring phase. Replayability over here is insane, okay? Not only that every time you're going to choose a different faction, your whole game is going to change. Also, every time you're going to have a completely different map. In this game, since the moon crashed to Earth and everything changed, tiles are going to move from one place to another. You're going to throw away, you're going to just take out tiles from the initial board, and actually you're going to add some others during the game if you actually played a card that allowed you to do that. Tsukuyomi Full Moon Down is, in my opinion, a game that doesn't get enough coverage out there, relatively low ranked. Don't understand so much why, because in my opinion, this game is amazing. Moving on to the next game, if we already talked about area controls, let's move on to another one, and that is Divide Impera. Divide Impera by Ludus Magnus Studio maybe is a more familiar title from the other two, since the publishers are very famous publishers, the ones that brought us, for example, Black Rose Wars. So again, I don't understand so much how come it's rated only at, I'm looking in front of me at 7.5, because when it comes to area control, and this is already, I didn't talk about it in Tsukuyomi because I don't know why, but Tsukuyomi has an amazing table presence with all the different miniatures. Divide Impera has a really smart and, in my opinion, beautiful aspect of the different levels that you have on the map itself. So it's going to be some sort of 3D, no more just like flat tiles. You are going to actually put different layers on the tiles over here in Divide Impera, which might create a little bit a problem when you want to put everything back in the box. That is a flaw, I totally agree. But I think that over here, you have area control, asymmetrical, maybe not the most asymmetrical factions, and it's kind of funny to set after Tsukuyomi, but still asymmetrical factions. You have over here also the drones, which are some sort of neutral units that the different factions are going to control according to which cards they're going to have. There is an open market over here. There is a solo mode if you're getting the White Death expansion. It might not be the best solo mode out there, but it is a solo mode, and also this solo mode is something that is going to allow you to actually increase the number of players when you're having a game. So if you're just 2 players and you want to have like this third element, there is no problem with Divide Impera. From one area control to another, we continue with that, and that is Cerebria by Mind Clash. Now, this game is ranked at 7.7 currently in BGG, and this is where I'm starting to not understand so much what's going on over there. So, in case you haven't heard of this game, and Mind Clash, I don't think Mind Clash needs a further introduction. The same people that brought you Tricarian and Voidfall and Septima and Perseverance episodes 1 to 4, whatever. They're also the same guys. I don't know if you know about it, but this is another one of their hits, at least in my opinion. Here we have again another area control. On the box it states 1 to 6 players. I don't think this is a game for 6 players. I do think, because this is going to be some sort of a team game, I think that this is one of the games that, even though it's teams 2 versus 2, actually works here well. Usually when it says like 2 versus 2, I'm like, come on, this is a 1 versus 1, right? You just want to increase the number of players. But just like, for example, in Spirit Island, you can solo 2 spirits, right? It is possible, but there's just so much going on that it's not going to be so much comfortable. Here, because this game is really crunchy, and I think that this is one of the reasons why the ranking is so low, it's definitely something that you would like another person to just share the burden with, because if no, there is quite a lot to do over there. I think that the rulebook relatively to Mind Clash is not the best one. This game is crunchy, it's not easy to understand, it's a little bit complicated. And the thing is that if this game hasn't touched your table for quite some time, you'll pretty much have to relearn everything over there, because really there's a lot of going on over there. So I think this is one of the reasons that Cerebria is ranked maybe lower, just because the complexity and the crunchiness of this game that is not so accessible as maybe the other games. So after Cerebria, we're moving to another area control 4X game out there. Well, 4X, we'll see about that. And that is Dark Ages. That was designed by Adrian Novak and also Adam Kvapinski. So I know this name already rings a bell for you guys, because that guy designed one of the pretty much a lot of famous games out there. I think the latest one is just the third part of Nemesis that blew away GameFound with, I think, more than 12 million euros, if I'm not mistaken. But any case, Dark Ages is considered to be a 4X game, even though I think that the exploration part over there is very weak to non-exist, because here what's going to happen is that when you're going to attack a barbarian token, if you have managed to win in that combat, you're going to flip the token to the other side and see what is the reward that you're getting. I don't think that basically it's an exploration, but okay, let's say that it is. So Dark Ages has also a twin brother, because this is Heritage of Charlemagne, and there's another one that is called a Holy Roman Empire. Basically, in that Kickstarter, they came both of the games. You could have bought both of them, and each side of the map, you can bring them together and then just have a huge map that supports up to 8 players, which is insane. I don't know if personally I would have played it for 8 players, but it is a possibility if you are one of this larger group of players. So Dark Ages, you're going to have here many things besides area control. You are having the other 3X's of the 4X, not exploration. You're going to have there the expand, of course, because you're going to conquer more territories. You have there the exploit because each area has their own specialty of resources. And also you are going to exterminate your enemies. Yeah. So it might not be heavily relied on combat, but you are going to have combat in this game. The other parts that you have over here are open market that you have. The more culture that you're getting, the more cards you'll be able to get. Another side to this game is the Euro side, because you are going to count quite a lot of points over there at the end of the game. What I like that you have also, besides the base game, you have so many modules that are not difficult to integrate into Dark Ages. With just after you have played a game or two and you're comfortable, you're going to mix and match different modules that are going to just enhance your experience. Why is it ranked low? To be honest with you, I'm not so sure. Maybe because the solo mode by David Turczi is a little bit more difficult to understand. I don't think this is really a reason to rank it low, but okay. I might see some balancing problems over there because, in my opinion, some factions are in a better position to start with than others. But I don't know. In my opinion, Dark Ages is a wonderful game. It's the game that has hit my table quite a lot of times this year in 2024. And definitely you're going to hear more of this game in this channel for the solo mode, for how to play. And probably it's going to go to other lists as well. So Dark Ages is going to seal the first part of the video of underrated games. And let's move on to the second part of this video of games that are ranked in a better numbers, let's say on BGG, but still I think that they're not getting enough coverage out there. And moving on to a really awesome game, also in the 4X division, and that is Era of Tribes by Arne Lorenz. And let me tell you guys, this is a one-man's show, okay? Era of Tribes that is ranked currently at 8 on BGG, but not with a lot of people that ranked it. This is a 4X game if you are going to have one of the expansions that is going to allow you have it. But if no, this is again an area control. You have all the other X's besides exploration. Again, if you don't have the expansion. An amazing civilization game and one of the best balancing mechanisms in all the board games that I've ever played. Thanks to this technology tree that you have. And just the more you advance, the more difficult for you it will be to get there. And also the easier it's going to be for other players to follow up. I think that this game is super well balanced. This game also, just like Dark Ages, has hit my table so many times in 2024 that it's just a good game. I enjoy it every time. Now, why do I think that this game doesn't get a lot of coverage? I think that this game has a little bit of problems with the rulebook that is making it less accessible for people. Yes, Arne, the rulebook is not the best even at the second version, but there are other how to play videos out there on YouTube, including mine or others, so feel free to check that out. Also, the art, because Arne Lorenz is a one-man show and he did everything in this game, the art here is maybe not the most inviting thing in this game. Also, it's kind of abstract since the components over here are very generic. In my opinion, it doesn't hurt at all the experience of this game. Again, an excellent game. I love it. But I can see how come other people might not want to have it. Soon we are going to see 2 expansions that are coming for Era of Tribes that I will try to cover on this channel. This will be a good opportunity for you guys to get a copy of this game because there is going to be a reprint. So feel free to check that out. Moving on to the next game, and that is Halls of Hegra, which is a solo-only board game. So we're going to change a little bit from everything that we've talked about so far. Halls of Hegra is, I don't know if it's my first solo-only board game, but it's definitely the one that I probably enjoyed the most. I'm not so sure if it's going to see a reprint soon. I want to say yes, but I'm not 100% positive. But this, guys, is a wonderful game. You're going to play a commander in a Norwegian castle, a citadel, fortress, I think it's the right word, that is going to try and recruit more volunteers and soldiers in the village next to that citadel. And also, you're going to try to, it's kind of a tower defense because you're going to have a lot of Nazi soldiers attacking you from the air, from artillery, from troops that are going to storm on your gates, and it's going to be quite mess. So this game is ranked as 8.3, but again, not a lot of coverage out there. When I see on Facebook someone is posting like the top 9 and I see this game out there, I'm like, yes, they know what they're talking about. I do think that this game might rely too heavy on push your luck, okay? Because sometimes in very critical parts, you are going to put your hands in the sack, you're going to draw something and you're like, God damn it, probably my whole game is gone. But hey, this is war, so things like that can happen. Halls of Hygge, in any case, check it out. It's a wonderful game. If there is a reprint, this is something that you should consider. Moving on to the next game that I would like to talk to you about, and that is John Company 2nd edition, on the other side. Now, you might say, hold on, this is a very well-ranked game by a lot of people. So yeah, from all of the games that I've showed you, this is probably the highest ranked board game by most people. Current rating of 8.3 by, I think, more than 3,000 people. So yeah, it is out there, but I'm like, how come I hear nothing of this game? Now, I'm going to say an unpopular, maybe, opinion. I hope I'm not going to lose some of you, but Hegemony just received a Board Game of the Year, if I'm not mistaken, and I didn't realize that you guys are enjoying paying your taxes so much. And I'm like, this kind of diplomacy game or whatever that is very interactive between the players, that you need to make decisions, that you need to maybe a quid per quo, I'm going to, do something for you, but you have to do something for me. And I'm like, but I think that Cold World did this thing in a much better way. John Company 2nd edition is a crazy good game, especially in that specific genre. In John Company 2nd edition, you're going to play one of the controllers in the East India Company. And if you know Cold War a little bit, you know that this guy does his homework. So everything that is kind of history related, like this one, or Pax Pamir 2nd edition, which is another amazing game, you're going to have a lot of fun with this one. This is I want to say almost a purely diplomatic kind of a game where you're going to have a lot of negotiation with the other players. And I'm like, Hegemony, is a nice game, but I think that theme-wise and also the way that the game is played, John Company is just doing it better. I think that visually the way that this game looks is much cooler. Okay, maybe it might be a little bit less accessible rules-wise, even though I'm not even sure about that. But the moment you're clicking with this game, and I promise you, this game is not complicated, everything is just so much more streamlined, especially because of the design that you're going to follow this red line and just going to do, okay, now it's the manager's turn or something like that. Okay, who's controlling it? These are the actions that you can do. What can you give me? What can you give me? Both of you go to hell. I'm going to do what I want to do. And this guy, you're the next military commander of whatever. Moving on to a pretty sweet board game. Probably ranked as the highest number, but just like not by a lot of people. And that is Company of Heroes, the board game. So this is this baby right over here. Guys, I've covered this game with how to play for the basic game and also then for the advanced rules. Feel free to check any one of those while we're waiting for the 2nd edition. Now, I've played the 2nd edition, guys, with the designer Brian, also Rudy, the community manager, and some other people over there on the Discord. And I'll be honest with you, the 2nd edition is so goddamn good that it's a little bit difficult for me to now play the 1st edition of this game. It is so good. How come do I think that it's not getting a lot of coverage out there? First of all, maybe just because the publishers are not very famous. This is basically, that was their first game. Now they're doing the 2nd edition. Now they started to a little bit get acceleration, let's say about that, with Avatar, Airbender, something like that. I'm sorry. That is already, you can find it already on GameFound, if I'm not mistaken. And also they're going to do a version of Stormgate a little bit later on, only in 2025. But in any case, this is one of the reasons. Second reason is probably because the prices of this game were a little bit less accessible, let's say, for the general public. This game didn't hit really retail. And I'm telling you that I don't know if it's still open. I don't know if it's still possible, to open a ticket with a bad crow or something like that. It doesn't matter. You'll be able to get a copy. But even just the core box of this game that is really not expensive for what you're getting inside, material-wise and game-wise, you should try and do this favor for yourselves, guys, okay? And the thing is that year after year, I'm saying like best war game of the year, Memoir 44 or Undaunted and stuff and it's okay, it's cool. Those are good games, no problem. But where is this game, okay? How come this game is not more out there? Again, I still think that it's only because it's not on retail, but if you can get your hands on a copy of one of these babies over here, do that favor for yourself, or just at least play it either on TTS, which is, I know, not my favorite thing as well, or in a conventional, I don't know what. Do yourself the favor and do Company of Heroes. In 2023, last year, it was one of my top 5 board games, so check it out. Now, in order to seal the video with the 10th games that I'm going to talk about, I a little bit cheated, okay? So I apologize for that. I was not sure if I want to bring these games into this list or not, because I kind of understand how come maybe they're not highly rated and how come not many people are talking about them. But still, those are games that I want to show them to you, okay? These are the games that I'm talking about. We have here StarCraft the board game, Rune Wars the first edition, and Battle for Rokugan. Yes, all of them are Fantasy Flight games. All of them are out of print. All of them are highly expensive in order to get a copy. I'm not even sure why, okay? I mean, I love these games, okay? Battle for Rokugan, if you liked a Game of Thrones, for example, and you want something that is a little bit maybe more streamlined or a little bit quicker, or I don't know what, Battle for Rokugan is the game for you, okay? It's going to pretty much have the same mechanisms, but much more trimmed down, let's say. I do have a how to play for it, feel free. Actually, I have how to play for StarCraft and Rune Wars as well. Feel free to check out these videos. But in any case, I think these board games are great. StarCraft, I think, from 2007, Rune Wars from 2010. Super difficult to find a copy. So I do understand how come they're not highly ranked. I do understand how come nobody is talking about them, just because it's super difficult to find them. But if you ever manage to play one of them or just get actually your hands on a copy, you should do it. Now, another thing that is common to all of these games is that this is something crazy with Fantasy Flight games. They're like taking out a game. It's okay, and then they're bringing in an expansion. The expansion is like, whoa. Either completely changes the game or adds so much cool things to it that it's actually, it's an amazing thing. So I have a proposition for Fantasy Flight games. How about you design some games, just play test them a lot, then think about the things you want to add or change, do those things, and just then release the game, and you can tell yourselves that it was an expansion, but we won't know anything. I think this is a good idea. Then we're going to have one copy of a game with already everything inside of it. It's not going to cost another 150, 200, 300 euros to get a copy of the expansion, and we'll just be all happy campers. I think that can be a good idea. But in any case, these 3 games, guys, I don't know, are part of the top 10 or not, whatever. Just wanted to say a few words about these games. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I truly appreciate it. If you learned something new, saw something that you like, feel free to subscribe, join as a member, just leave a like and a comment. Tell me, what do you think about the games that I presented today, and which other content would you like to see on this channel? Take care, and I'll see you next time.